Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. You are watching LNA Now. I am Jenny Nagel.
And I am Barry Eichner, and welcome to this very special edition of LNA Now, where we are so excited to talk with the founder of Bend Beauty, Mark, and I'm saying this correctly, Saint-Ange?
Yeah, perfect.
Fabulous. And is that French-Canadian?
It is French-Canadian.
Fabulous. Now, Mark, tell everyone about Bend Beauty and your relationship with Alexander's Aesthetics here in the US.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO and founder of Bend Beauty. It's a company that's existed since 2016. And so we service really the professional skincare beauty channels throughout North America. And in the US, we have some amazing partners, including Alexander Aesthetics. So we're really, really grateful that they've kind of partnered with you two to kind of bring this info session.
So we love the product line. Well, actually, I love the product line. Jenny hasn't used it yet.
I have some on the way to me finally, Mark, just so you know. Jennifer was so kind to send me some. Throughout the pandemic, I haven't made my way to the studio as often, so I didn't get my hands on the product that you sent. So I'm so excited to start it just in time for summer.
And I used all of mine, and now I'm on Jenny's portion that I had sent. So I've been using it I used the entire bottle of anti-aging formula and the entire bottle of the collagen. And I'm now in the middle of my second for both of them. I am loving them. I take them every single day. I take the coconut flavored collagen powder in my protein shake every morning, and right before that I take the anti-aging formula and I sort of wash it down with the protein shake and the collagen. So it's a great combination, and I personally love ingestibles, and I love that section of the beauty industry is growing so much, because it's so funny how people don't really get that mind connection that skin is actually an organ of your body. So people take vitamins to have an overall better function of their overall body, but they don't think that there can be ingestibles. They don't tie it right away that ingestibles can actually improve the overall vitality and health of the skin. So I really love this whole concept. I love taking them, and really excited for you guys to be able to let the people that engage with us and our community know, first of all, the really dynamic and specialized ingredients that you have in your anti-aging formula, why it's so important that you've done all of this amazing research, and how these products can positively impact the skin. So I know you've got some prepared information for us, so we're all ears, we're ready to go.
Okay. All right. Well, feel free to ask questions, and we can dive in as deep as you want. Maybe if you could just choose a setting that allows me to share my screen.
Oh, sorry about that, Mark. I've made you a co-host, so you should have the ability now.
Here we go.
Sorry about that.
All right. Let's get going.
There we go.
Okay. So really, I think what we're really talking about is a very big change, a shift in how we think about skincare. Barry, you were just kind of talking about it. And this is really the idea, the mindset that was really rooted in Bend, even going back to 2009 when we started the first research. So I'm just trying to, there we go. So just quickly, a little bit about me before we jump in. I've been kind of a biotechnology, wellness, sustainability entrepreneur for over 20 years. And through that experience and just kind of seeing the role of business in the world, and how maybe the negative impact, especially of the kind of the industrial era, and kind of looking forward, I see such an amazing opportunity to shift that business as a force for good, right? And so kind of my personal positioning as an entrepreneur is really, to help shift industry towards this more, I call it transformative economy. So this is big change kind of stuff, and really centered around environmental sustainability and collective well-being of our global community. So talking more about collective prosperity. And when we think about what are the roots of Ben Beauty, the philosophical underpinning is this the statement, you know, on the screen. When you nourish all the connections, something beautiful happens, right? And so that is really the ethos of what we're doing, both from a brand and very, you know, deep into the science perspective. And I see really, there's really two shifts happening, you know, in the world today. There's a consciousness shift. People are thinking less kind of narrow and myopic and more kind of holistic, right? The interconnections that happen and how anything that you do as an individual, a city, country, whatever, as a business, has such a ripple effect in the world. And the science is also following along. And really that science is kind of where we're diving into the product and how the science is, you know, informing the formulations that create these amazing benefits that we're able to bring to the users of our product. So once again, you know, Barry, you touched upon this. We have a major change coming. So this is the convergence of two industries that really were running kind of separate. Now they're converging, the skincare and the healthcare. And all the industry, you know, experts now are saying the same thing. This is going to be one of the biggest drivers of the beauty industry, right? So you just got to get ready, right? And the good thing is Ben Beauty is here to help. We're helping with bringing the right products, evidence-based. We're bringing information, training. We have an amazing online learning system. So you can go from the, you know, the basics, the true 101 of ingestible skincare, all the way into really starting to get familiar with the science and how that gets really integrated into today's practice for skincare and beauty professionals. Maybe we don't really need to dive into the market data. Everyone knows it's a huge industry, right? There's change happening. But it's really interesting to see that a fifth of all users of supplements today, of this massive industry, are using it for some kind of indication of beauty, whether it's hair, whether it's you know, nails, or of course the skin. And when we talk about this kind of ingestible beauty, you know, category, you know, let's go back a couple decades. There were products, right? And these are typical mass market products sold in pharmacy. They're just based on general nutritional concepts, right? So you may see a supplement that may have featured biotin, or maybe one of the other B vitamins or vitamin C or something like that, or a particular herb. Very, very general, very basic, not really founded in much in terms of science. Today is completely different. And thankfully, I think we're playing a big role in leading that science, deep science. This is really progressive stuff. And so this is driving a whole new set of applications. How can we use beauty from the inside out to create some really amazing, dramatic benefits for skincare enthusiasts, right? And so it's really about efficacy now. So we need the science to back up the claims. And we're starting to see some novel claims, which include things like what Ben Beauty is doing around, you know, the aging of skin and UV protection. And Barry, once again, you were talking about, you know, how this is what really caught your attention. Is like, wow, here's a thing that I can actually ingest orally every day, part of my wellness, you know, regimen, and it's actually increasing my body's ability to prevent UV burning and damage. So if we do a little bit of a dive around aging as a concept, now I say aging can be a very beautiful thing. It is, absolutely. And we can't prevent age. But what's layered on top of aging is accelerated aging, right? And this is not a static process. Right? So we can have this real divergence between what we call biological age, which is the true age of, you know, inside your body, as we measure in the cells of our body. This can diverge so much from chronological age, for the better or for the worse. And so when we start to look at what is the science really telling us now about aging, And there's this really interesting concept called the environment, right? Let's talk just very briefly. Genetics became such a big topic in the last couple of decades, and people started to think, well, you are your genes. You're born with good genes or you're born with bad genes. No, that's totally not true. The field has advanced so much further beyond that. It's really how the environment is acting on those genes. So if we think of the growth, repair, aging of our cells inside, what we have to look at really is what is the environment, the climate that we've created, our internal body chemistry, and how that is actually affecting this accelerated aging process, making it go faster or actually slowing it down. This is where we have really dug really deep as a company. And so it's great to know if you can change your environment, that internal environment, you can actually change your age, your biological age.
I just want to chime in really quickly and give you a concrete example. So my mother has a sister who's 9 months younger. I think they're Irish twins. I think that's what they're called. And they're 9 months apart, and the difference in how they look it's amazing. My mother looks 20 years younger than her sister, who is 9 months younger than she is. And it's because of her habits. It's because of her diet. It's because of how she takes care of herself. So hearing you talk about changing your environment, which is what you put in your body and what you expose yourself to, it's 100% true, just comparing two people from the same family. So genes play a role, but they're not the entire picture.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, that's what we're going to dig into a little deeper. And I think it's really demonstrative, to talk about one particular study that I came across. It's very interesting. They took two groups of women. One, the average age was around 20 years old, and the other group was around 80. So it's a no-brainer. Like, a 20-year-old is going to look very different from an 80-year-old in terms of the visible signs of aging. And so what we've known from previous research is that these particular cells that produce collagen, we call them dermal fibroblasts, right? That they actually slow down in age over time. And so the gap in terms of how the ability of these fibroblasts to produce collagen at 20 and then at 80, it's about a gap of about 70%, right? It's a major decline. And that's why we see, the damage is accumulating faster than our body's ability to repair it. So with these two groups of volunteers, they did biopsies. So basically they actually, pulled out a section of skin. They isolated those collagen producing cells, the fibroblasts. And then they verified, here's the difference in collagen production. So that's 70%. The next step was really interesting. They took those same cells and then they put them all in little petri dishes with like a growth media, but all the cells were incubated in this exact same environment, right? And something really, really interesting happened. That 70% gap in difference in collagen production was shrunk all the way down to 37%. So what really was happening there is that in the older group, they were able to restore a significant amount of collagen production just by changing the environment of the cells. The cells were still the same cells, but what was kind of locked up inside was still all this potential to produce collagen, right? So this is really kind of tying back this idea. If we can change our environment, we can change elements of defined as aging.
That is the most amazing point, because that's going to be a huge selling feature for the collagen product that you have, because it's showing that there's a dramatic increase in collagen production when the right environment is achieved.
Well, I'll go one step further and say that it's the anti-aging formula that's going to have the biggest effect on the internal environment, right?
Okay.
Because, and we'll see, so we've taken this concept of environment and we've kind of reframed it, calling it skin climate.
Oh, I like that.
So I think it's a better word. Like, it's when we talk about skin climate, we're still talking about the whole body. But what we're doing is we're really putting a lot of focus on some of those whole body biological processes that have the most influence in showing up in the skin and skin aging, right? So the skin climate is the internal body chemistry, that internal environment, which governs the breakdown, repair, overall health and longevity of the skin, right? So it's a concept we want people to really, really understand, because it's so fundamental to how we can, you know, go this next level of just really unlocking so much youthful potential in our skin. So more specifically, what is the skin climate? Well, it's primarily the result of age-related increases in chronic inflammation, a term we're hearing a lot more of these days, and free radical stress. Now, this then gets really amplified by all kinds of dietary, lifestyle, environmental factors. And once again, UV is playing still a big role here, of course. Now, the science of skincare, it's shifting to from the narrow spectrum to this whole body holistic concept. And we're even seeing all new fields of research opening up. So around emotional stress, there's an actual legitimate field within medical research called psychodermatology, how our psychological state is showing up in our skin. It's fascinating stuff. We know there's a huge connection between gut health and the skin. We call it the gut-skin axis. Hormonal balance, how our body is able to produce and then metabolize and detoxify hormones, it plays a huge role in our skin health. So once again, like if someone's interest was heart health, and what we know about the science today, say, how am I going to make my heart healthier? I said, well, you got to treat the whole body. What about if I want to make my liver healthier? Well, you got to treat the whole body. If you want to make your skin healthier and slow down skin aging, you got to treat the whole body.
Yeah.
And these are the levers that we're really focused on and doing the research and doing the product development. So continuing with this concept of inflammation, which is just, if anything, just remember the most important thing to live a healthy and long life is focus on reducing inflammation. It's so central to this whole theme of including skin health and skin longevity that medical researchers have actually coined a term. We didn't invent this. This is an actual term called inflammaging.
I've heard it. It's a great term.
Yeah. So really, what is this talking about? Well, as we age, there's a baseline level of inflammation that's not related to infection. It's not related to injury. It's just there and not really serving a purpose. And as we get older, you know, from our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s onward, that level of chronic inflammation is increasing. And the more inflammation that's showing up in the body, the more it's actually shifting the body more toward breakdown and less towards repair. So it is a huge driver of the aging process. And of course, with chronic inflammation, this is an inside-out job. You know, you really, really got to focus on the things that we're going to talk about. Interesting enough, if we want to look at what is the potential to modify these inflammatory markers and how does that really result in changes in aging, there actually have been some studies. I just referenced one here where they actually used nutritional supplements based on omega-3 fatty acids, and which are known to reduce inflammation. And what they saw is over the course of the study, they saw a reduction in these inflammatory biomarkers. And what the fascinating thing is that when they looked at what we call telomere length, now telomere, not to get once again into the techno babble here, one of the ways that we actually measure biological age, and this is a very credible measure, is we look at these little things called telomeres at the end of our chromosomes. Our chromosome is what encapsulates all of our DNA, our genetic blueprint, right? And every time, or we'll say as that cell gets older, the telomere shortens. And once there's no more telomere, the cell is basically going to enter into a stage of cell death, right? So if we can actually slow down that shortening of the telomeres, or maybe even reverse that and actually make them longer, that is contributing now to changing the biological age. So they actually showed in this clinical study that the actual telomeres actually got longer, right? So this is, once again, good scientific proof that, you know, it's not a static process, that there are things that are within our control, focused around inflammation, that can actually change aging. So once again, we are really focused on the science, right? We're, you know, that is my passion, that's my background. I'm I get so excited to kind of read through all the scientific literature. But let me give a lot of credit to our scientific team. They're the real smart ones. I just kind of look out into the future and look at the trends and bring these ideas back into the team so that they can actually do the real science. We've have decades of experience in things like nutrition, clinical research, as well as inflammation has been a central theme for us for probably close to 15 or actually more than 15 years. We're bringing forward this concept to help people understand the importance of this idea of shifting the environment. We're bringing forward this idea of skin climate to help people understand better. And at the end of the day, we're not introducing ingestibles as an alternative to all the amazing things that happen today in the professional skincare industry. This is what we call best care. If we take topicals, right, really good evidence-based topicals along with evidence-based ingestible beauty products like Bend, best care. So it's shifting from skincare to best care. Once again, this is, you know, we have a limited product line at this point. We are introducing new products as early as the end of 2020. And we have a lot of research projects on the go right now. Now, these are multi-year research projects, but we do anticipate that we're going to launch some of these innovations over the next 12 to 18 months. The flagship product that we talked a lot about to start this webinar is the anti-aging formula. It has, this is really where a lot of the deep science that we've been doing since 2009. This is the product. This is that foundational product that's going to shift your skin climate, right? From something that is promoting maybe the accelerated aging to more towards to restoring youthfulness and rejuvenation. Right? So call it a skin climate optimizing formula. And of course, what is the result of that? Well, we see claims like helping protect against UV-induced sunburn, it increases hydration, it increases the firmness and elasticity of the skin, so that anti-aging aspect. It can be used to treat skin conditions like eczema and other forms of roughness and redness. And of course, it is a general source of antioxidants as well for skin health. So UV is probably where we've built the most depth in our research. And Jenny, you were talking about, now's the perfect time for you to get onto the regimen so that you can start to build up your skin's capacity to resist the damage from the UV, the burning. But when we look at the broader category itself, we're seeing some big issues being talked about. First of all, we see potential, some of these active ingredients getting into the bloodstream. That's not something that we want at all, because some of these are endocrine disruptors. We also are seeing some concern around the impacts of these ingredients for the environment. And specifically, we've seen some cause and effect for coral reef, the health of coral reefs. So places like Hawaii, among others, have actually banned certain ingredients. So I think what this is doing it's certainly not shifting people's attitudes toward being sun smart. We need to really understand the potential harm that excessive exposure can have on our skin, its appearance, as well as, of course, skin cancer. But we now need to broaden our concept and see, how can we be sun smart? So we ran a clinical study with the anti-aging formula, and this was actually performed much like you would do a topical sunscreen. But for topical sunscreens, you have basically the group of subjects come in, and there's one time point. Means they come in, they apply the sunscreen, they apply the UV radiation, and then they look at how much radiation is required to create that burn, that skin burn. Then basically the trial's over. But nutrition is different, right? Nutrition takes time to get saturated into the cells. And these are things that we understand really well. So for this particular formula, we estimate between 3 to 4 months to get that full saturation. That's when you get the best benefits. But you may see some benefits even much earlier. Now this study we ran only for 8 weeks. Clinical trials are very expensive. And we knew that for this to really be something for the industry to grab onto, we needed to be able to show that you could achieve a significant effect in a much shorter period of time. So maybe we would have seen even greater benefit if we ran this for 3 to 4 months, but even after 4 weeks, so after your first month or your first bottle, the average skin resistance to UV burning was increased by 39%. So a huge effect size relative to any other nutraceutical trial that's attempted to do the same thing. Well, what we see here is after 8 weeks, there was almost a linear increase over time. So it basically doubled. It actually more than doubled at 8 weeks. So all the way up to 84% improvement in how the skin is able to handle that radiation, right? And that's really, really important, not just from a cosmetic perspective, but also, once again, the deeper concern is avoidance of skin cancer. Now, this trial was not looking at skin cancer, but obviously we know that burning is what is the causal factor. Now, because UV protection from the inside out is an area that we're really pioneering and building a lot of depth. So we've invested a lot of scientific resources into studying this. So we saw with the human clinical trial the cause effect that, yeah, this can really help me with my skin's ability to protect against UV. Well, now in what we call our cell biology lab, where we actually take human skin cells, and we actually work in a microscopic fashion, and even the genetics of it, we can understand how this is really working. This will actually help us to understand the mechanism, as well as to inform future product research in UV protection. So this study just published, so we're super, super excited because this is a really credible peer-reviewed journal. It's called the Journal of Natural Health Product Research. And the research that we're publishing, the outcome of that was that the anti-aging formula was able to protect skin cells from UV damage. So same thing as what we saw in the human clinical trial, but now actually looking in the microscopic fashion. It also protects cells from hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. So H2O2 is a major source of free radical damage in our skin. It's also the main reason why we turn gray, because we have an accumulation of hydrogen peroxide at the hair follicle, and that actually causes free radical damage to the melanocytes that produce the pigment. We saw that from a genetic level, this is really interesting, that this formulation was upregulating antioxidant genes. So the body's own ability to produce these valuable antioxidants, it upregulated anti-inflammatory genes, and it suppressed genes that are related to promoting inflammation, including a particular inflammatory pathway that has been directly linked and associated with skin cancer.
Amazing.
So this once again, it was a really, really exciting day when we got the news that we were accepted by this journal for publication. So, and we'll continue to build upon this body of evidence. This is just a quick picture from the study where we can show, so collagen fibroblasts are kind of long and spindly kind of cells. They're not like round cells. And you can see on the left, when there's no UV treatment, this is what a healthy fibroblast looks like. Now, on the upper column, there's no anti-aging. We call it control group. On the bottom one is where these cells were fed for 14 days of the anti-aging formula. So in the middle and the right column, we're basically blasting them with ultraviolet radiation. First with UVA, which is a little less intense, and then UVB, which is, a big dose of radiation. And when we see the red dye show up, basically this is a sign of cell death. It's that the cell has basically exploded, and the contents, the DNA contents, are just basically they become exposed. So it's like a bomb dropped, but you can once again start to see how at the cellular level that this formula is creating this resilience, almost like a force field around the collagen fibroblast to help it to manage the damage that is caused by these forms of radiation. So moving on quickly to the collagen products, and we're super, super proud of this product. It is, you know, if the anti-aging formula was kind of like a foundational product that really targeted the skin climate, this one is kind of like an additional booster. And this is why they work so well in synergy. So the anti-aging formula can create the climate for these fibroblasts to start to restore a lot of their function, more youthfulness. And then we can actually use something like the marine collagen to come in and restore a signal to the fibroblast that's basically says, kind of like, just poking these cells and say, can you please make more collagen, right? So it's kind of like an exchange of information. And that's one of the cool things that, through the research around, how does collagen really, really work? It's not because it's the building blocks of new collagen. It's because these small collagen fragments get actually absorbed into the bloodstream, travel, and they come in contact with the collagen producing cells, the fibroblasts, and what we call a receptor site. And it activates that receptor site on the collagen producing cells so that they produce more collagen. It's actually quite simple, but it took a while for the research community to really understand the mechanism here. Now we've of course added other ingredients to this formula to give it that, once again, that synergy effect, so that we can really produce healthy collagen, and then we have some great claims around that as well, including it's going to help you with your collagen formation. So that is that's kind of a little bit of a deeper dive into the science, and
fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Because Mark, what we'll do, we recorded a session during our virtual skincare festival with Jennifer from Bend Beauty, so we'll also include the link where everyone can kind of get that perspective as well. But having you on today just to explain, a little bit more in depth about the science and the research behind the brand was so valuable. We cannot thank you enough. I mean, I feel like you are so passionate about this and could talk for days on the topic. So we absolutely look forward to having you back again.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you to Alexander Aesthetics, our amazing distributor in the US. So if anyone wants more information, they can go to their website. They can go to the Bend Beauty website. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming here today, Mark. Have a great afternoon.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.